Would never have imagined it, a biological mother secretly drugging her own daughter's drink to make her pass out, but shockingly she did it for her daughter's own good. It turned out that Jenna, the daughter, was an extremely rebellious girl. She smoked, drank, got tattoos, permed and dyed her hair, and spoke foul language to anyone she met, showing not a trace of respect.
I have a sunflower on my ass if you're interested.
She even went as far as setting fire to her own school. In order to reform Jenna, the entire family had no choice but to move to a remote place called Evergreen Community. However, even this new environment couldn't change Jenna's bad habits. As soon as she got out of the car, she casually spat her bubblegum onto the clean road. When her father scolded her, she looked completely indifferent, showing no concern for the fact that her father suffered from a serious heart condition. She soon noticed that all the students here behaved unusually well and wore identical tidy clothing. Even the people across the street looked strange. Although they were merely planting trees, the atmosphere was inexplicably heavy. One couple was even crying beside a newly planted tree. But Jenna didn't care at all. While she and her sister were moving their luggage, their mother called them over and handed them glasses of juice, the very drinks that had been secretly drugged. A while later, Jenna slowly regained consciousness and realized that her nose ring had been removed. Her punk-style look had disappeared, and her tattoos and eccentric clothes were all gone. Furious, she yanked clothes from her wardrobe and screamed in frustration before storming off to confront her parents, completely disregarding the fact that other family friends were present in the house. Her mother explained that everything had been done for her own good, and the community director also tried to persuade her to understand her parents' good intentions, that they had made many sacrifices for her. But Jenna refused to listen. She didn't want to change, and no one could make her change. With that, she turned and left. Her sister Juliet followed behind, grumbling about their parents. Together, they went to the park. Everything in the community felt unnatural to Jenna. She didn't fit in and longed to escape. She promised Juliet that she would take her along when she ran away. Soon after, Jenna began secretly observing the security guards at the community gates. Just then, a boy appeared behind her. He introduced himself as Logan, saying he too had once been a troubled teen and had also drunk that strange sleep-inducing beverage. He'd lived in the community long enough to have tried every possible escape route, yet all had failed. Now he had a new escape plan, and he wanted Jenna to join him. They agreed to act during the community's Saturday picnic. During their conversation, Logan mentioned a place called Arcadia, where anyone who broke the rules would be sent. Jenna assumed it was a kind of military reform school, but when Saturday came, Logan never showed up at the picnic. Jenna began to feel a rising sense of anxiety and unease, feelings that did not go unnoticed by the community director. That night, Jenna couldn't calm down. She risked breaking curfew and sneaked into her yard to spy on Logan's house. She saw the director visiting Logan's mother, asking questions about his whereabouts. Logan's mother begged for mercy on her son's behalf, but the director coldly said that Logan's fate would have to be decided by the whole community. Just then, Jenna heard a noise behind her. It was Juliet, calling her back to bed. But before they could return home, they suddenly heard hurried footsteps in the street. It was Logan, running frantically toward his house. He pounded on the door, shouting for his parents to open it.
Mom! Dad! It's me! Let me in!
But they didn't respond. Desperate, he ran into the middle of the road. Jenna wanted to go to him, but Logan quickly signaled for her to hide. He had decided to surrender himself. Moments later, 2 guards arrived, stunned him with electric batons, and dragged him away to a car, all before Jenna's horrified eyes. The next day, Jenna tried searching online for information about Arcadia, but found nothing at all. Just then, her parents called her downstairs. The director had come, suspecting she had been in contact with Logan. He claimed that Logan had hidden a hunting knife and attacked several guards. After witnessing Logan's fate, Jenna no longer dared to argue. She behaved meekly, like a frightened kitten, nervously insisting that she didn't really know him. Still, she couldn't let go of her curiosity. She hid behind a door to eavesdrop on the director's conversation with her parents. She learned that a meeting would be held that night to decide Logan's future, but she was caught by Juliet, who happened to pass by. Jenna quickly covered her sister's mouth to keep her quiet. Then she told Juliet everything she knew, insisting that Logan would never attack anyone. There must be a deeper truth behind all this. She was determined to investigate. Juliet, however, reminded her that their parents had signed a binding contract with the community. If they ever left, they would lose everything. That night, Jenna defied the curfew again. She slipped past the patrols and crept into the community building, stopping outside the meeting room. Inside, the parents were voting with white and black balls. When the counting ended, the director announced that Logan would be sent to Arcadia, and that a tree would be planted in his honor. Logan's parents were devastated and pleaded for mercy, but the director replied coldly that most families in the community, himself included, had sent their children to Arcadia. He called it a necessary sacrifice for the prosperity and eternal harmony of Evergreen. At that moment, Jenna saw guards escorting Logan toward a vehicle marked with the Arcadia logo. She ran after them, trying to warn Logan to look at the sign on the door, her face filled with terror, but her reckless outburst drew the guards' attention. Thanks to Logan's quick warning, Jenna managed to escape, but not before her identity was exposed and reported to headquarters. Panicked, she ran home to wake Juliet, begging her to help distract the pursuers, while she hid in the park and waited for Juliet to join her so they could escape together. But when Juliet finally arrived, something about her expression felt wrong. Moments later, a group of guards surrounded Jenna, with her parents and the director standing nearby. Jenna asked Juliet why she had betrayed her.
Jules, why?
You're going to ruin everything again.
Then the guards forced Jenna into the Arcadia vehicle. She screamed for her family, begging them not to send her there, but her parents remained silent and turned away. It turned out Arcadia wasn't a school at all, but a fertilizer factory, and the truck that took Jenna away was actually a waste disposal vehicle. The result was clear. Not long after, a small tree was planted in front of Jenna's house, and beneath it was fertilizer produced by the very same company. When Juliet later added a handful of fertilizer to the soil, she finally chose to conform. Smiling brightly at her parents, she appeared the perfect daughter, but in the moment she lowered her head, her cold indifference was unmistakable. This is a deeply unsettling story. On the surface, it seems to be about a troubled teenager, but in truth, it's a chilling allegory about how certain societies treat nonconformity and individuality. That said, rebellious youth have always been a challenge for both families and communities. So if such a place really existed, would you send a troubled teen there?